History is a vast tapestry, woven with the threads of countless human lives. Among these, some stand out as paragons of wisdom and virtue, while others serve as cautionary tales. The ancient Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, dedicated their lives to the pursuit of wisdom, tranquility, and moral excellence. They understood that the words we speak are not merely sounds, but reflections of our inner state, our character, and our deeply held beliefs. Our language shapes our reality, and by examining the common phrases we use, we can uncover the hidden assumptions that govern our lives. The fool and the wise man may walk the same earth, but they inhabit entirely different worlds, separated not by circumstance, but by the quality of their thoughts, which are often revealed through their words. In this exploration, we will delve into 5 common sayings that characterize a foolish or undisciplined mind. We will contrast these with the profound wisdom of Stoicism, revealing how a simple shift in our language can initiate a powerful transformation in our character and destiny. By understanding the difference between the sayings of the fool and the principles of the wise, we can begin to consciously choose the path of virtue, resilience, and inner peace. These are not just ancient adages. They are practical tools for navigating the complexities of modern life with grace and strength. The first and most common refuge of the weak and undisciplined mind is the phrase, "It's not my fault." When confronted with failure, disappointment, or error, the instinct of the foolish man is to deflect, to cast blame outward. He points his finger at colleagues, at circumstances, at the weather, at anything and anyone but himself. This reflex is a shield, but it is a shield that prevents growth. By refusing to acknowledge his role in a negative outcome, he forfeits the opportunity to learn. He becomes a perpetual victim, tossed about by the whims of a world he believes is conspiring against him. His narrative is one of perpetual injustice, where he is the blameless hero in a story of misfortune. He fails to see that the common denominator in all his troubles is himself. The Stoic, in stark contrast, embraces responsibility. He understands the fundamental principle of the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our power, and some are not. While he cannot control external events, he has absolute sovereignty over his own judgments, intentions, and responses. When faced with failure, the wise man looks inward. He asks not whose fault is this, but what was my role in this and what can I learn? He accepts his mistakes not as a source of shame, but as a valuable lesson, a tuition fee paid for the acquisition of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. The strong man stands firm, accepts the impact of his own actions, and learns to navigate the currents of life with greater skill. He knows that true power lies not in avoiding blame, but in owning his choices and their consequences. Another hallmark of the foolish man is the arrogant declaration, "I already know that." This phrase is a door slamming shut on the possibility of new knowledge. A man who believes he knows everything is unteachable. He approaches conversations not with curiosity, but with an ego that needs to be defended. He listens only to find flaws in the other's argument or to wait for his turn to speak. His mind is a full cup, incapable of receiving anything more. This intellectual vanity blinds him to his own ignorance and traps him in a state of stagnant mediocrity. He mistakes familiarity for understanding and opinion for fact, closing himself off from the vast universe of wisdom that lies beyond the narrow confines of his current beliefs. He is a prisoner of his own supposed expertise. The wise man, on the other hand, embodies the spirit of the eternal student. He approaches the world with a sense of humble curiosity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. The wise man understands this profoundly. He listens intently, knowing that every person he meets, regardless of their station in life, can teach him something. He is not afraid to admit ignorance or to say, "I don't understand, please explain." This humility is not a sign of weakness, but of immense strength. It is the key that unlocks endless doors to learning and personal growth. He sees himself as a work in progress, constantly refining his understanding and challenging his own assumptions. For the wise man, life is not a stage to perform his knowledge, but a grand university in which he is a lifelong and devoted student. Confronted with a significant challenge or an ambitious goal, the foolish man is quick to surrender, uttering the self-defeating mantra, "That's impossible." This statement is not a conclusion reached after careful analysis and effort. It is a preemptive surrender. It is a defense mechanism born of fear of failure, fear of effort, fear of ridicule. By declaring a task impossible, he absolves himself of the responsibility to even try. He chooses the comfort of inaction over the potential pain of striving and falling short. He becomes the architect of his own limitations, building walls around his potential with the bricks of his own pessimism. His world shrinks to the size of his courage, and he is left to watch from the sidelines as others achieve what he deemed unattainable. The wise man, guided by Stoic principles, sees the world differently. He does not see impenetrable walls, but obstacles to be navigated. He understands that what is perceived as impossible is often just a collection of smaller, possible tasks. The Stoic does not concern himself with the final outcome, which is often beyond his control, but focuses entirely on the effort he can apply in the present moment. He asks, "What is the next right action I can take?" He breaks down the monumental challenge into manageable steps and begins. He sees every obstacle not as a barrier, but as an opportunity to practice virtue, courage, perseverance, and creativity. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The wise man dares to act, knowing that the true victory lies not in the achievement itself, but in the virtuous effort of the attempt. Often disguised as a cool, detached demeanor, the foolish man's refrain, "I don't care," is frequently a mask for fear and apathy. When faced with his responsibilities, the suffering of others, or matters of ethical importance, this phrase serves as a convenient escape. It is a declaration of emotional and moral laziness. By feigning indifference, he attempts to sidestep the difficult work of engagement, empathy, and principled action. He pretends that nothing matters to avoid the risk of being hurt with a burden of responsibility. But this cultivated apathy comes at a great cost. It corrodes the soul, leaving him isolated and disconnected from the very things that give life meaning and purpose: community, duty, and compassion. The Stoic, by contrast, practices a much different and more noble form of indifference. This is the practice of apatheia, not to be confused with modern apathy. It means being indifferent to things that are outside of our control: fame, fortune, the opinions of others, and even health, to the extent that it is not governed by our actions. The Stoic does not waste emotional energy on what he cannot change. However, he cares deeply, passionately, and profoundly about the things that are within his control: his own character, his judgments, and his actions. He cares about being a good person, a responsible citizen, a loyal friend, and a virtuous soul. He directs his full capacity for care toward his duties and his moral integrity. So while the foolish man says, "I don't care," to shirk his duties, the Stoic says, "I don't concern myself with what is beyond my power, so that he may better care for what truly matters." Finally, the selfish man operates from a transactional worldview, constantly asking the question, "What's in it for me?" Every relationship, every task, every opportunity is weighed on a scale of personal gain. He views the world as a zero-sum game, where for him to win, someone else must lose. His motivations are driven by a desire for pleasure, profit, or praise. This self-centered calculus prevents him from experiencing the deeper joys of contribution, service, and genuine human connection. He is trapped in a small, impoverished world of his own making, forever chasing a satisfaction that remains elusive because it is sought in the wrong place, in taking rather than in giving. He cannot understand that a life built solely on self-interest is a fortress that is also a prison. The wise man, inspired by Stoic ideals, asks a different question: "How can I contribute?" Or, "What does virtue require of me?" He understands that human beings are social creatures, designed to live and work together for the common good. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." The wise man finds his purpose not in what he can extract from the world, but in what he can offer to it. He views his work, his relationships, and his role in society as opportunities to practice virtue, justice, kindness, and public spiritedness. He knows that true fulfillment is a byproduct of a life lived in service to something larger than himself. For the Stoic, meaning is not found in personal gain, but in the alignment of one's actions with nature and in the virtuous service to humanity. Our words are the chisel with which we carve our character. They are not just sounds we utter, but habits of thought that forge our destiny. The phrases of the foolish man: "It's not my fault. I already know that. That's impossible. I don't care. And what's in it for me?" are chains that bind him to a life of mediocrity, frustration, and meaninglessness. They are expressions of fear, arrogance, and selfishness. By consciously choosing to replace these phrases with the principles of Stoic wisdom, by embracing responsibility, cultivating humility, daring to act, caring for what truly matters, and seeking to contribute, we can break these chains. We can begin to change our habits of thought, and in doing so, change our lives. This is the power of philosophy made practical. It is the path from foolishness to wisdom, a journey that begins with a single, conscious choice to speak, think, and therefore live differently. The path to a noble character and a tranquil life is open to all who are willing to walk it.